So my speech is Bisexuality 101, and a big reason why I chose to speak about this is because basically there's not a lot of education around this. There's not a lot around talking about this. There's no information out there right now about how male bisexuals experience dating apps. If you look up sexting, you'll find 292,000 news articles about it, not a single one discussing the bisexual experience through sexting. The bisexual experience through sexting is pretty important, mainly because of these reasons. One, sexting to men, women, and couples gets complicated. If you're talking to multiple people, if you're talking to different sexes, if you're talking to couples, it becomes complicated as fuck. And also, it's fun to look at dick pics. For me, I don't know about you, but for me, it's kind of fun. So that's why we're talking about this. So, how do male bisexuals sex? And I'm gonna share my own personal experiences. I don't know how the fuck other male bisexuals sex, because I asked them, they sent me some screenshots. It's probably not how I do it, but this is just kind of how I do it, just to help. So, bring it down, bring it down, bring it, there we go. Basically, we're employing different methods all the time based off of who we're talking to. This requires you to be extremely skilled at conversing with people, very, very skilled at conversing with men, which are super easy to talk to, better at conversing with women, who are a little bit more complicated to talk to, and more importantly, how to communicate with couples, which to me are the bisexual unicorns, because you kind of get both there. So we're gonna go into male for male first. Gonna deal with the screen moving. Basically, your best apps here are gonna be Grindr and Scruff. For men, sexting is more direct. There's a rush and experience, it's almost transactional. You give a little bit, they give a little bit, and you kind of get in quick. Men on hookup apps are mainly looking to hook up. And I think a lot of the male hookup apps have been kind of set up in a way where it really is very, very easy to hook up with people. It's actually the more simpler way to hook up with people. Distance is public, and this is something that a lot of people don't realize from male dating apps, but they actually let you know how close someone is to you. It lets you know exactly where in the local neighborhood they might be. It helps you with figuring out if it makes sense to talk to someone, because if they're really close by, the likelihood of sexting becoming actually fucking becomes a little bit higher. So public distance is a big thing and something that you should be aware of. And literally you can go from sexting to a knock on your door within minutes. I mean, I have gotten peed on, but men are more open about what they want and rarely beat around the bush. When men are talking to men on dating apps, they tend to go directly into exactly what they like. This ranges from their position. It goes from milder requests to let's just meet up and watch porn to more wilder interests like BDSM play or water sports. Literally, men are very on the cusp as to exactly what they like, and when you're interacting with men on dating apps, and when you're interacting with bisexual men on dating apps, you'll tend to find people who know exactly what they want. And that's a key differentiator between speaking with women on apps or speaking with couples. Titles are important. They give the idea of what you're looking for. Many times people will change their name and specifically change their title. There's some really, really random title choices that are made out there. Things like LD down for TBB, which is like Leather Daddy down for Twink Bareback. There's just like these random things that pop up when you're looking through these dating apps, and you're realizing that people are literally just broadcasting exactly what they want sexually, and there's little fear of it. They're basically putting themselves out there and saying, hey, this is exactly what I want it locally, I want it now, and you tend to find more people like that. Also, key thing to keep in mind with male dating apps, there is a lot more abs. There's less face shots. A good amount of people on these apps are closeted men or gay men who are a little bit more demure. So not everyone broadcasts exactly what they are. A lot of times you'll find a lot of surprises. You'll be talking to someone who has a SpongeBob picture and realize he's a celebrity, but really just the voice of SpongeBob, which isn't really a celebrity. And you kind of, you get used to those little surprises. So on male dating apps, you'll find a lot of surprises. You're not necessarily talking to the person that you see the photo of, but that's part of the excitement. Also, dick pics, almost always expected. On Scruff, you can create albums which will let you just feature your naughty shots. You can share these instantly with anyone, even people you're not connected with. So if I go on the app at any time, which honestly I really don't do often, but if I do, probably within an hour I'll have a couple albums that are just filled with dick shots. Even without these people talking to me, even without these people communicating with me, literally just people just sharing albums filled with dick shots and, you know, that little, the little starfish. So if you, it's just something that happens within here. I think it's just how men communicate with each other. Another big thing within this is WOOFs, direct messages, favorites, and match on Scruff. You can show interest in multiple ways. You're not just connecting for connecting, you're connecting for hookups specifically, and these apps actually give you a number of ways that you can connect to people. A woof is like a light interest. A direct message means that they're definitely kind of interested in you. Favorites and match are like games that you play within it that connect you to people. So really these male-focused apps are just focused on the male aspect of hooking up. So people just hook up on there more. I really like that gift. Appearances are major in the gay world, but also are tribes. So it's not just about the way you look, but also the tribe you fall within, whether you're a bear, otter, daddy, twink, muscle, geek, leather, you're verse, bottom, top, submissive, or dom. You really start falling into these specific tropes and these specific tribes. When you start doing that, people are really, really focused on that specific thing. So you find a lot of diversity in how people connect and what they're looking for based off of that. Couple accounts are also very, very popular. I guess openness and the ability to be more open is more common within gay relationships or bi relationships. So you tend to be talking to people who might be connected or might be a couple. And then being bisexual can be revered or mocked. This is like a fairly true story for me. Like, as I tell people I'm bisexual, as I connect to people on these apps, there's a growing amount of gay men who have never had sex with a woman who are looking to do that. So I tend to get a lot of requests for people who are just like, I would like to hook up with you, and can you introduce me to a girl, because I've never talked to a girl, or suck my penis in one. And it's, you know, it's something that I've come to accept as part of the experience, but in all honesty, it's not the best way to interact. Also, bareback is fairly often suggested, not always often suggested, but it's basically the action of having sex without a condom. Obviously, there's nothing wrong with doing this if you're with a partner or someone who's trusted, but in this type of game, always advise people not to play that. P&P is also present, and like proudly present in almost a way, where you can go through these apps and people are literally advertising that they just want to do crystal meth and fuck all night. That's strange to me, because I'd never seen that before on Tinder or anything else, and literally no other dating app besides these types of apps have that type of suggested motion. So again, also not suggested, but something that you'll see. And also HIV status is front and center. A lot of times people will put down on their apps exactly when was the last time they got tested. They'll also put down whether or not they're on PrEP, whether they're using treatment as protection, or whether or not they're using condoms. Male for female. All right, so the best apps for this are obviously Tinder and Bumble. A lot of people have a lot of success on Instagram, Snapchat. It really all depends on how you're trying to interact with people. Swiping is the main way you can connect. And again, the difference between male to male apps versus male to female apps, or male to male apps that include females, is that you're not seeing everyone, right? When you're on Tinder, you're swiping through. The algorithm actually positions people who might make sense for you, who have swiped you positively, and the interactions are actually based off of those algorithms. So when you connect to someone, it's actually like a long process in order to connect that person to you. When you're on like male to male apps, it's literally like everyone in your area. And the presentation is really based around who can get to you fastest to fuck. Tinder is not like that. So Tinder, you connect, you swipe, you connect to those people. Attraction is key, but really also if you have worthwhile pursuits. Women do require a longer time investment when it comes to communicating. It's less spontaneous in the way that male to male apps work. And always expect a little bit more back and forth before kicking the nasty. Another thing with women, male to women apps, is that there's always the expectation of a neutral place. A lot of male to male apps are kind of instantaneous. There's a little bit more of that action of like going to someone's house. But for male to female, there's always a neutral place. There's always a place outside of just going directly to you and having sex to like actually experience that sex in real life and then get down to what you want to do. Sexting is limited to words and photos that are more suggestive. There's less nudity, more telling of a story and discovering what someone is into. Kinks might pop up, and in a lot of conversations with women, as we're going through, as we're sexting back and forth, the kink aspect does come up. So you can expect it, but it's usually after some sort of conversation is revealed. Most women out there don't just want to present themselves as someone who is really, really into something until they feel trusted by that partner and feel like they're in a safe place, and that's really important. Don't dick around. I would suggest for women, for the most part, you can send dick pics. Strongly advised against unless they're requested. They're rarely requested. If you're sending if you're sending a dick pic, use proper lighting and other things. Women who I've interacted with are more interested in face shots. Getting an idea of the type of person you are is very, very important. They're less about what you're packing and the piercings that only God can see. They're really just more interested in getting to know you and having that trust before they engage in sexual activity. To buy or lie, this is a question that a lot of bisexual men question regularly. Whether or not it's okay to put down that you're bisexual on one of these apps, it becomes a little bit of a discomfort for some if they're not truly that or they don't feel full that. So you tend to have people who are a little bit more binary, more straight or gay. So bisexuals often feel the need to hide it. Me, personally, I like to put my bihood front and center. And it's usually a good way to weed out people who would be pissed off that I have a boyfriend, which is good. It's really good. Male for male, female. All right. The best app for this is Field, currently. Field is a great app for connecting to couples. Couples are the bisexual unicorns. A lot of couples say, like, a single female is my unicorn. For a bisexual man, finding a couple is like literally, you got both of the bases covered, and you're kind of there. And that's like literally everything you want, and that's actually really, really good. So Field is ideal for meeting couples and those who are into group play. Get to know who you're talking to. A lot of these couples accounts are run by men who are trying to convince their girlfriend to do something that they might not be comfortable with, or their wife or their partner or whatever else it is. So when you're talking to someone on these apps, if it's a couples account, try to have a conversation with both those people. Try to ask both those individuals, hey, are you both into this? What are the two of you into? And get them both in the conversation. Rejection is common, especially on Field. Ghosting is common, rejection is common, especially when it's a male talking to couples. The main reason for this is that you're talking to two people. Someone might not be really into it, someone might be really into it. You're constantly dealing with partners who are trying to figure out their own shit, and you're talking to them through a cell phone. You have no idea what they're about. So on here, you kind of expect people to kind of like be super duper excited about it and then not, which is okay. But something to consider is that for men who are exploring their bisexuality, men who are part of couples who are trying to try this for the first time, you want to take things slow, you want to explore, and you basically want to make sure both partners are very, very comfortable with it. And the majority of people on this app are looking for hookups or to fulfill kinks. So the conversation becomes a little bit more candid, it becomes a little bit more around what they're interested in, and if you guys have shared interests. At that point, you can figure out what to do next. Also, within Field, even though you have a lower amount of people who might not be interested or might ghost, when you do find couples or when you do find people who are interested in that, you tend to have more long-term partnerships with those individuals. So those actions kind of become something of a stronger desire to continue that conversation. Takeaways. All right, so really, really quickly, for men and men who are focused on men, sex seems to be the focus. And again, this is just from my own personal experiences. I have no fucking clue what's on your phones. It might be the same thing. But for men looking to hook up with men, sex is the focus. Kinks are more open. They're more talking about the things that they're into, specific things that they want to do with you. They tend to guide the conversation. They know what they're kind of looking for. A lot of times they play a numbers game, so you might be one of like 20 people they're talking to, and in hopes that one of those people works out, and in hopes that they can get that done quickly. That's kind of common. Sexting is impacted by looks, level of horn or horniness, and distance. For men who are looking into women or interested in women, connections are the focus. This tends to be less about conversations, more about what they're looking for sexuality, and more flirtations. Women are often looking for men to guide the conversation, to lead it along, to help figure out exactly what the base is for that. And always, sexting must entice the brain. So you have to have a conversation that actually keeps someone engaged, actually keeps someone interested. But again, looking good doesn't hurt. For couples into men, or for men who are looking for couples, exploring is the focus. You'll tend to have people who are looking for a one-time experience, but also are looking to try something new. You're connecting with two people, so you have different ideas on what's sexting. Ghosting is common, but when you find a connection, you'll usually be ready for more adventures to come. So more things will come. That's all for now. Bye, bye, bye. One more thing. I did promise a dick pic.